Thank you, everybody, for turning out for this monumentous occasion here. For the first time in FPHL history in 16 years, there's a joint press conference with an AHL team, and no better place than to do it than Binghamton, New York. My name is Brooks Hill, Director of Media Relations and Broadcasting for the Binghamton Black Bears, two-time defending Commissioner Cup champion. We're very thankful our friends from up I-81, the Syracuse Crunch, proud affiliate of the Tampa Bay Lightning, are joining us here inside the Vision Veterans Memorial Arena Credit Union Arena here today. We're so thankful for a very special announcement. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Andreas Johansson and Jim Sorossi from the Syracuse Crunch and Binghamton Black Bears. So.
The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
Thank you, Chris and Tom, Jim, and Andreas. At this time, we'd like to open it up for questions for our Binghamton media friends. If you have a question for anybody from the Syracuse side of things, if you're just identify yourself and your affiliation, that would be great. Let's see here. Bob, you were first one here, so you get the first question.
What I would like to know, either from Andreas or Jim, why Binghamton? Why bring this game here to Binghamton? What was attractive for either one of you guys to agree and come together to have a game here?
Well, thank you, Bobby. I think Jim really has to answer that one, but I think the basic requirement is we have ice in our building on that date. I think that probably has something to do with it.
I would say a little bit. I don't want you to cut yourself short. In a good way, in a healthy way. I mean, there's always options. We looked at a lot of the universities. They come after us a lot. Like I mentioned, Oswego before, the Colgates. There's other options. We've looked at Cornell in the past and everything, but when we found out we had a need, this was a no-brainer. And a lot of that it's really twofold. It's because of what Chris has done to this building to maintain it and keep it at the standard. This is seamless. This is not normal. The league turns down games in other buildings all the time. There's requirement after requirement. It's not like it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. The regulations, and I get it, there's safety and everything. And then the second part of that is because of the success that Andreas and his staff had. This is a vibrant hockey market. And then from a Crunch point of view, not to come across to you and stand off, like we like to think of ourselves not only as a central New York team, we're definitely a kind of a whole upstate team, like with Northern New York, the Southern Tier. Now that there is an American Hockey League void, we want to be the Southern Tier's American Hockey League team. That being said, in conjunction with Andreas and what he did. So it really, I use the word no-brainer about choosing Binghamton, and it's because of these two gentlemen why that's happening.
Jim, just to follow up, you also understand probably the importance of this press conference. This is the first time that an NHL-based affiliated team has ever had a held press conference with the Fed. The Fed is trying to grow. They're going into their 16th season. Do you understand the importance and the legacy of this kind of event happening in the cooperation between the two organizations?
Yeah, it hasn't gone unnoticed on my part. I'm not naive to that fact, but it's something that I'm diving, and the Crunch are diving straight into. It's something we're proud of them. I'm remiss, I don't know the exact number of teams in the league, but boy, is this the banner city. And I hear it a lot when I go on the road with everything, and you can see the success that they've had. So with Tampa and Syracuse, it's what's best, and this is the best in the Federal Hockey League. So from that lens, it's a no-brainer to be associated with them. And that's something we take very serious as well.
And that was Jim Sorossi of the Syracuse Crunch. I've known Jim for a very long time, going back into my AHL days. It was a great day, in my opinion, for Binghamton hockey, for the Black Bears, and for the Syracuse Crunch, and even for the Federal Prospects Hockey League. Hello, everyone. This is the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for September 11th, 2025. This is season 15, episode number 4, and of course, episode number 518 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. I am your host, Bob Howard. She is Taylor Welch. Taylor, hello. And, you just heard what Jim Syracuse said, and you obviously know the news now that there will be a Binghamton Black Bears, or there will be a Binghamton AHL preseason game between the Syracuse Crunch and the Utica Comets. What were your thoughts on what you heard, and even just the fact that there's going to be an AHL preseason game here?
I think it's awesome. I mean, just to hear him kind of talk about Binghamton in the way that he does, it just kind of goes to show that although we're considered the Fed or like a lower league, there's talk about us. Like, we're heard. People are seeing what we're doing, and they take notice. And it's not everything that we've done hasn't gone unnoticed. And I think that's an awesome fact. I think the fact that an AHL team knows about Binghamton, knows how good we've done, and like just the continuation of what's been going on here, I think it's an awesome thing. I think it's a completely another thing, like, to be great for the league. The fact that we are kind of having this partnership with Syracuse and the Crunch and having this kind of like moment, I think it's huge.
It's great exposure for the league, Taylor. I think one of the things that I hope that Don Kernan, the commissioner of the league, and just the league in itself just understands that this is a good thing. The Binghamton Black Bears have sent, over the last 2 years, their goalies up on Mondays to do practice sessions with the Syracuse Crunch. This is a relationship that Brant Sherwood helped cultivate. I mean, we got to thank Brant Sherwood for this. They got a phone call from the head coach of the Syracuse Crunch at one point and said, hey, do you guys have any goalies that would like to come up and spend some time? And so Sam and Connor and Nolan all went up there and got to do some pretty cool stuff. They got some gear from the Syracuse Crunch, and it's something that they've done multiple times. And I think, honestly, that's what's really important here. There's a relationship being built, and trust. And, listen, they called up Tom Mitchell, basically Howard Dolgan, who is the owner of the Syracuse Crunch, basically called up Tom Mitchell and said, hey, do you think this could happen? Do you think that, the team and the arena would be, welcome to this? Do you think they would be okay with this? And Tom said, yeah, I think so. I don't see why they wouldn't. And, the team contacted Chris Marion, who is basically the guy who runs the arena. And listen, our arena looks the way it does because of Broome County and because of Chris Marion. And basically, Chris said, yeah, we could probably do that. We can get the ice in, and, we could get things going and ready for you for October 3rd. They thought it was going to be October 1st, the game was going to be, or maybe even the day before that, at the last day of September. But they settled on October 3rd. But it still is okay. The Black Bears are going to practice for a couple days over at the BCC Ice Center. But overall, everybody just came together, and this is an AHL quality barn still. And you can come down here. The ice will be good. The boards will be good. The lighting is great. Just everything about this works for the AHL and for the league. It doesn't mean you're losing the Black Bears. It doesn't mean you have to root for the Utica Comets. Absolutely not. You can go there and boo them and just support hockey being played here in Binghamton. I think that's really kind of important. But I think that this relationship between Binghamton, the Black Bears, Andreas, Brant Sherwood, and Syracuse, I think it's huge. I think it's important. And I hope that the rest of the AHL, the ECHL, sees that there is quality here in the FPHL that can be utilized. Listen, Steven Santini and Tyson Kirkby, who are probably on two different planes when it comes to level of hockey that they are playing professionally. They sat there and talked for probably a good hour, hour and a half. They were next to each other the whole time, and they just communicated and talked to each other. Heck, they might have even exchanged cell phone numbers. I don't know. But there was a bond instantly because, as we've talked about, that I've gotten out of the players don't see themselves at certain levels. If Connor McAnanima can play in a league in the middle of the summertime with NHL, AHL, D1 college hockey players, SPHL, ECHL players, they're all close with each other. They're all friends. And I think that's really huge. And I thought it was just a great moment. Sorry for rambling here, but I think it's something that the fans should hear.
No, I definitely agree with you. I definitely think that some of the fan base kind of might have taken it not so big as we are, and I think everything you've said needs to be heard.
Yeah, because I think some of the fans, and listen, we're going to go over some of the details, and then we're going to then talk about what some of the fan reaction has been. I think some of the fans, it's been positive. I think some are just hooked on the Utica Comets part of that. And even Howard Dolgan said, listen, if you want to come here and boo the Utica Comets and cheer us on, we're okay with that. They understand what has happened here. And listen, there's always a round robin in the preseason between Rochester, Syracuse, and Utica. This was just the game that they needed to schedule here. It could have just as easily been Rochester and in Syracuse, but unfortunately that game is, I think, being played up in Rochester. So that wasn't going to happen. But let me get through the must reads, and then we'll get into this a little bit more. All right. The Power Play Post is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search for the Power Play Post Show. Listen, we're getting new people all the time coming in there, and we appreciate you. And thank you guys for joining us. And become part of our community. Be sure to like, comment, and share our latest episodes with your friends. Looking for anything Binghamton Hockey, visit binghamtonhockey.net, your go-to source for stats, history, and all things Binghamton Hockey. And coming up on this edition of the Power Play Post Show from the Binghamton Black Bears owner, Andreas Johansson. I sat down with him after the press conference, and we talked about an array of things, and it'll be a very good interview. But Taylor, why don't you start reading through really what happened this afternoon?
Alrighty, so the Syracuse Crunch and the Utica Devils to play a preseason game on October 3rd at the arena in Binghamton. The Black Bears and the Crunch held a joint press conference at the arena Wednesday to announce the game to the media. This will be the first AHL game, albeit a preseason game, played in Binghamton at the arena since March 7th, 2020, a 5-1 win for Binghamton Devils over the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. The 2021 season, home games were played in Newark, New Jersey due to COVID-19. This also marks the first time that the Utica Comets and the New Jersey Devils will be represented in Binghamton since March 7th. And how will the fans react to this organization that left Binghamton? This should definitely mark the Crunch as an overall favorite for the home team. More information will be announced about the game in the near future.
Now, first let's again, I didn't think the reaction was going to be so strong by the Binghamton fans about it being Utica. I mean, some people even said, oh, I'd go if it was anybody but Utica that was going to be there because they don't want to support Utica. And believe it or not, Utica has nothing to do with this. They weren't represented at the press conference. They are not making any money off of this game. The Black Bears have a small stake in the game and making a little bit of money, and that's the right thing to do from the Syracuse Crunch. And then the Crunch themselves. This is basically a home game for them. Their barn is being renovated right now. They're getting brand new seats up there in the War Memorial. So if you go up there, you're going to see some new seats, which is pretty cool and good for their fans up there. But I understand the disdain for the Utica Comets. I understand the disdain for the New Jersey Devils, but it's not the players' fault. So, again, I want to curve that a little bit. I get you not liking it. I'm a New York Rangers fan. I can't stand the Devils on the ice when they play against the Rangers. I've had a great relationship with the New Jersey Devils organization when asking for players to come on my show in the past. And I will say that. I will say that they have a shaky track record when it comes to their AHL affiliates. They burned Lowell, they burned Albany, Utica once, Binghamton now. Trenton had a bad time with them in the ECHL. So again, I get it. But hopefully these fans will show up. We'll get to see some AHL preseason hockey. And then 7 days later, you're going to be raising a banner. So kind of like just enjoy it. You can boo the heck out of the comments if you want. Totally understand that. Okay, go through some of the quotes from both Andreas and Howard Dolgan.
So the quote from Andreas, he said, "We are happy for this opportunity to further strengthen the bond and partnership with the Syracuse Crunch organization. With the ultimate goal of continuing to grow the game of hockey in upstate New York, hosting an AHL preseason game allows us not only to help them out, but give our fans and the AHL fans in the Southern Tier an opportunity to get a really good look at their team as they play their final preseason game here in Binghamton." The owner of the Crunch, Howard Dolgan, said, "The Crunch are extremely excited to be hosting an AHL preseason game in the city of Binghamton, which continues to demonstrate that it is one of the most outstanding hockey markets in North America."
So let's talk a little bit about the reaction from some of the fans. I'm going to read a couple comments, and I'm going to say their names. And I'm not bashing these people. I understand your frustration and maybe your disdain for the comments, but let's talk a little bit about it. Peter C. Kush said the press conference was a bust. A great way to get the Utica Devils. Great. We get the Utica Devils play. Wonderful way to AHL rub the salt in the wound. I hope people don't go. If they do, they bring signs and Black Bears gear. Absolutely, 100%. Represent the Black Bears as much as you want. The New Jersey Devils did Binghamton dirty. Totally agree. And now they want us to thank them for table scraps. Nobody's asking for thanks. So, Peter, I think you misunderstand the importance of what is going on here. This is a great thing for the Binghamton Black Bears. They're kind of getting a little bit of a rub from the Syracuse Crunch, and it's a great thing. Listen, they could have held this press conference up in Syracuse. They could have done this just with a press release. But instead, the Syracuse Crunch and Jim Sorosi understood the importance of doing it down here in Binghamton. Going into the Binghamton Black Bears dressing room and holding the press conference. I mean, that's a pretty cool thing. And I think people are misunderstanding the importance of this, Taylor.
Yeah, I think they just they looked at it maybe not with a wide lens, and they're just kind of focusing on that it's the comments. And I don't think it's getting understood that it doesn't support them in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
This is specifically supporting our arena, hockey in this area, and the Crunch.
Yeah, exactly. Eddie Bello, Eddie, I hope you're listening. He said, this should be a very pro-Syracuse game. Bring signs. Let the Utica ownership know, which I don't think they'll be there, that Binghamton doesn't forget. Give them the Reggie Millette treatment. I love that. As Crunch invited our goalies last season, which is true. I love that, Eddie brought that up, because even the Syracuse people said there's not enough of that going out there, that there's been a partnership between Binghamton and Syracuse. I believe to work with them, so it's nice that we have a partnership with the Crunch. I'll support that. Eddie Bello hit it nail on the head. That's the right way to look at it here.
Yeah, I agree with what he had said.
Yeah. Steven Bagnetto, I know you listen to the show. I know that you hear what we're saying. He says it's a low blow. Screw the Devils organization. You're right. Screw the Devils organization. But show up, boo the comments, and support the Crunch and the Black Bears and the arena. That's the important part.
Yeah, I think if you want to stick it to the comments, not showing up is not going to do that. I think if you want to stick it to them and show them that we've been better off without them, or still show that you're upset about how things ended, that's why you need to show up.
Yeah, that's exact. You're so dead on. Show up, get 3,000 people in there. Show the Devils that, for a preseason game, maybe even more. Make this a very successful event, and maybe Syracuse brings Rochester next year. Hey, how about that? Jim, if you're listening, I think you might actually probably tune in for this episode. If you're listening, bring Rochester here next year. If this is a success, if this turns out really well, bring Rochester here next year. Maybe the year after that, bring the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. I know there's a lot of old Binghamton Senators fans that love to boo the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Continue the partnership. I think that's important. Now, I want to read one more. Katrina Elward. She goes, playing devil's advocate here. I get people are mad about the Devils, but half of the people didn't show up when they lost. And there is a lot behind the stuff that no one knew about why they left. And even with the Sens, maybe it will give these boys you guys so highly love an opportunity to meet the right people to further their careers to their dream of the big leagues. You never know if a scout is going to be there or anything like that. So a little bit more of a positive look at it, and probably a little bit less of a negative attitude towards the comments. Listen, there's been a lot of people talking, a lot of people upset. They don't like the fact that it's the Utica comments. But again, I hope people bring that passion to the game and show Utica that and cheer on the Syracuse Crunch. Listen, Taylor, this is the other big important thing here. There might be pictures taken at this game. There might be video taken at this game. It'll be Syracuse against Utica. And guess what? The Binghamton Black Bears logo will be center ice. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah, just another reason to show up in all your Black Bear gear.
Yeah. I just really what it comes down to is I think the fans need to show up, support Binghamton, support hockey here in Binghamton, no matter what it is, and just show the world that Binghamton is, listen, there's going to be probably scouts there. There's going to be media from both Syracuse and Binghamton down here for the game, right? It's just a few days before they start their season. They start their season just a few days later. I think it's on Tuesday or Wednesday. They start their regular season. There's going to be important people here at the arena. Why not give the old barn a nice shine with some fans either booing or cheering? And, if you got to give the comments the Reggie Millette treatment, fine, do it. But I think this is a good thing. And I was very happy for Andreas and Brooks and, Tyson Kirkby was there. And again, Steven Santini, former Albany Devil, former Binghamton Devil, and now current Syracuse Crunch. He was there talking with Tyson Kirkby, who was also there, and they had a great time. I got some pictures of the two of them, and I'll get that posted up probably later on tonight as well. And it was actually a fun moment. I think it was great to have two organizations come together. And Taylor, I'll tell you this: Syracuse didn't just come down with a few people. There were about 12 to 15 people from the Syracuse Crunch down here in Binghamton. Now, they went over some other details, tickets and things of that nature, which go to SyracuseCrunch.com. You'll be able to, get the tickets or find the tickets. You can get the tickets at both the box office at the arena and up in Syracuse, their box office as well. And, but yeah, they had like 15 people. It was at least 15 people. And I knew three of them from my AHL days. Jim Sorosi, who spoke, Andrea Marino, who was an intern here with the Binghamton Senators before she moved on to the Syracuse Crunch, and Megan Cahill, who is the vice president of communications and digital media for the Syracuse Crunch. All three of them, smiles on their faces, came in, said hello, came right up to me. It was just so great to see the three of them. I don't know, Taylor, do you have any questions for me about this?
I don't think so. I have yet to watch your YouTube video, but I'm excited to do that. So maybe I'll have some questions after that.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about some of the signings that we've had. We haven't talked, you and I haven't, for 2 weeks here on the Power Play Post Show. Obviously, Sergey, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name yet. He was signed 2 Fridays ago, I think it was now. And he's a defenseman, second rookie defenseman to come in. There was that week. Now, there will be no more signings this week for the Binghamton Black Bears, maybe next week, but we're getting to that point where he's got what he really wants. Now, of course, there's Scott Romakers, that decision for Scott that he's got to make. We don't know if Don wants to return yet, which means he would have to go to, obviously, Topeka and make some sort of trade to get Don here. Because Don's not going to play hockey in Topeka, just in case anyone was wondering about that. But the Black Bears did sign 2 pretty cool players, and we're going to talk about them now. Black Bears have signed Ivan Bondarenko. The Black Bears announced the signing of Ivan Bondarenko for the 2025-26 season. Bondarenko has spent the last 4 seasons in the Pensacola Ice Flyers in the SPHL, played last year with, obviously, Blake Tosto. The 28-year-old forward is a native of Moscow, Russia, but has been playing hockey in North America since 2013. The left-handed forward has previously played 2 seasons in the FPHL for the Columbus River Dragons, 4 games in ECHL with the Wichita Thunder, and most recently the Pensacola Ice Flyers during his last 4 seasons. With the Ice Flyers, Bondarenko appeared in 211 games, recorded 53 goals, 135 assists, totaling 188 points. He also appeared in 7 playoff games in Florida. He might play in more playoff games here in Binghamton in just 1 season. But Bondarenko is the first of 2 big-name signings to come this week for the Black Bears as they look to three-peat as Commissioner Cup champions. Now, these are obviously the signings from last week. This is a big one, but Taylor, there's one more big one that happened last week as well.
The Black Bears signed veteran forward Mac Jansen. The Binghamton Black Bears are extremely proud to announce the signing of veteran forward Mac Jansen for the 24-25 season. The 32-year-old is a former teammate of Jesse Anderson, CJ Stubbs, and Coach Brant Sherwood. Jansen, originally from White Bear Lake, Minnesota, has spent a majority of his career with Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs. During his 284 games in Roanoke, Jansen scored 107 goals while also chipping in 127 assists. He is no stranger to the FPHL, having a brief stint in both Columbus and Watertown. He joins the Black Bears as they start their quest for the Commissioner Cup's three-peat. A former champion himself with the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs, Jansen gives the Black Bears another veteran presence in the forward group. He was a crucial part of the Rail Yard Dogs President's Cup run as he served as team captain and scored the overtime winning goal during the first franchise's championship. He's also the second player who played the previous season in the SPHL to join the Black Bears this past week.
No, you poor girl. You just didn't take the chance to say Bondarenko, did you?
I did not.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. We possibly lose Don Oliveri. Are we okay?
I think so. I mean, when we signed him, the amount of comments from certain people, I'm assuming from other fan bases, they are not happy, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. So we potentially lose, and probably are, because he announced it here on the Power Play Post Show, Kyle Stefan. Are we okay now?
I think no matter what, I think Sherwood's always, he's got the wheels constantly turning. I think he knows. I mean, I know he asked you about if Kyle thought about retiring and if you could get it out of him. But I have a feeling Brant's been stirring the pot all summer long, just waiting for the stuff to come out.
Yeah, I think that's true. It's true. Here's what I want to say. If we don't see Oliveri or Stefan back on the ice again, Chris Mott, who I personally love as a human being, he's a great guy. If we don't see them on the ice this year, I think we're going to still be okay, because there are so many great players that Sherwood has brought into this organization, rookies and, because if you think about the rookies over the last few years, Andrew Logar, that was a great pickup to bring in here. Let's see here. Who else am I missing? Scott Ramakers, right? If some of these guys don't return after a year, because pro hockey at this level is very hard to make a living. It's very hard to kind of like live your life. And when people are look at Connor Smith. Comes in here, has a great season. He was a little banged up at the end of the season, right? But he wins a championship. Yet Ford, for the third time in a row, has asked him, hey, we have this job here with your name on it that is going to make you a lot of money. It's going to set you up in life. And he had to take it, right? But I think Brant Sherwood continues to find not only rookies, but also veterans that are willing and want to come here to Binghamton. And my conversations with Andreas and with Brant about these players is that it's not a hard yes for them. They're like, yes, I want to come there. Jansen calls up Brant, wants to come to Binghamton. Okay. It's not the other way around. Brant didn't go looking for Jansen. Jansen called up Brant, who he knows and Stubbs knows and knows Anderson, Ando, and comes to Binghamton and wants to come to Binghamton. So the money doesn't matter. It's like, I read a comment, Taylor, I don't know if you saw this comment as well, about someone who said, gee, I wonder what the salary cap is in Binghamton now. And it's like,
I've seen similar comments.
Really?
Yeah.
Go ask Monroe and PD what their salary cap is looking like right now. Because I'm telling you right now, there is money being thrown around. Ask Athens last year, what was your salary cap, right? How much is Garrett Milan making for real? Don't be throwing stones at us just because we won a championship. Oh, wait, we won back-to-back championships. Understand that everybody skirts the system just a little bit, because you honestly can't pay good players to be here and they have to go on welfare because it sucks how much they get paid. So there is things that happen under the table, and that's just the way it is. But it's happening on all teams except for probably like 6 or 7 that just can't afford to do it. Let's be honest.
Well, I think honestly, I think a lot of this has to do with Brant as well. Just for the simple fact that you said that Mac reached out to Brant. It wasn't the other way around. Brant didn't go looking for him. And I think that says a lot in itself. But I also just think that Brant is so good at what he does when he's recruiting that he's picking up valuable people to the point where he probably has other people in mind for if it comes during the season where, well, the ECHL is calling up Tyson, or the, SPHL is calling up this person, or somebody else is calling up our person, or they have to leave for something, a family thing, or they got their dream job, because that's happened several times now here in Binghamton. And I think it's very important that Brant is able to do this with so many players, but also be able to have basically a backup and be able to just constantly bring people in.
Yep.
Because I think the hard thing for the fans is that you see these people retire, or they move on, or they don't come back. And it's always so hard for the fans because of the relationship that's been built with the fan base and the players. But with the amount of players that we've lost throughout the several years that the Black Bears have been here, how many great players have been brought in that you've now been introduced because somebody else left?
Exactly. I didn't think that, when I first brought the show back and started doing it in 2023, and I got to know a couple of the players, and then all of a sudden, I got to meet someone else from a new year. And then like Chris Mott last year, it's like the friendship or the relationship that I have with Chris Mott, I can message him at any time, or he's messaged me, or when I put him in the countdown this year, I got an immediate thank you from him, right? There's a relationship that happens. Colin Fitzgerald, just loves. Just if I reach out to him, it's an immediate response. And these guys are great, but these guys also do that with the fans. They're so receptive to the fans. One of the things that Andreas and I were talking about, and I wanted to bring this up, the relationship with the fans are so good that the arena and the team had to put together a countdown clock at the end of each game. Now, if you look up, so as everybody's milling out and most of the people are going home, there's a lot of fans that go down to the corner to do autographs and see the players and, get pictures and talk to the players. And a lot of the players come out, not all the time, but sometimes sometimes they're injured. Sometimes they don't feel like, they're tired, right? They just played a 60-minute game or whatever. But they had to come up with a system and put it up there to let people know, hey, listen, you got 15 minutes, and then, people got to leave because the arena staff wants to go home, and they can't go home until the fans go home or, that type of thing. But the relationship is so good between the players and the fans, they had to put that up there. They didn't have that in the first season. It was the second and the third and the fourth season that they had to start implementing. How do we get the fans out of the building? Because there's such a great relationship and chemistry.
Yeah, I remember it last year. We weren't over into the player corner. We were actually, because where we sit is where the opposing players come out, and we had walked through the tent, and we ended up talking to an opposing fan, and we were there talking for almost the whole 15 minutes until a red coat had come over, and they're like, you have until that hits 0, and then you got to leave. And we're like, oh. Like, we had no idea about it. And they're like, yeah, it's like, you guys got until that hits 0. And we're like, all right. And he walked away.
That's funny. Yeah. It's because they want to go home. You have to understand.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
So I don't blame them either, but there was never anything like that in the AHL days, right? They never put anything like up that. They might have put something like that up for post-game skates in the AHL days, but there was never anything like that. But there is now. And I think part of the reaction from today, from some of the fans, is they love their Black Bears so much. And they're so upset that the Utica Comets, basically the Binghamton Devils, were stolen. And honestly, don't be upset as much with the Utica Comets and be more upset with the New Jersey Devils. But I think because, Frank Slack and Tommy James and some of these people who've been around from the early AHL days and been through all this garbage, they know how good we have it with the Black Bears. And I think there's also I want to say, I don't know how to say this. I think they also want to protect Binghamton hockey a little bit. And they just don't want Utica back here because they did do us dirty, and I understand that 100%. But I hope it's a successful event because in my opinion, I'd love to see Syracuse do that. Or somebody else do it, bring another preseason game here. I think it'd be fun. I don't think the ECHL would, entertain too many people to bring a preseason game. But man, if Wilkes-Barre ever needed a place to play a preseason game next year, yeah, maybe they could bring a game up here, or maybe Rochester, if there was ever a need. I think it would be a great thing. I think it's a good thing, and it's also great to just get to see some guys. There's going to be players playing in there that in a couple of years, they'll be in the NHL, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think this is a great way to not only get your hockey fix before the Black Bears actually take the ice, but just
there you go.
A great way to see some other hockey. This is the AHL. Like, this is almost the highest level. I think you got to go.
Yeah,
I know I'll be there.
And I was supposed to go out of town that night. I am staying for at least the first period. I want to take some pictures. I want to kind of document it a little bit as much as I can through my camera. I got some new glass. That's what photographers calls a lens. I got some new glass, and so I'm very excited to try that out in that game. Be there for at least the first period and just kind of enjoy it a little bit. I'm so very happy for the Black Bears and for the Crunch to be able to continue their partnership. People don't realize this is a partnership. That's the reason why the conference was here in Binghamton, in the Binghamton Black Bears locker room. But either way, okay, so on September 2nd, the Black Bears announced that the single game tickets are now on sale. All right. So you, for the longest time over the summer, could buy season tickets, but now you can buy single game tickets as well. So that really tells you. And what did I do? 30 days to the home opener? That's what I did today. I think I did. Yeah.
I think so.
Tomorrow we go into the 20s. It'll be 29 days on Thursday. So, because we're recording this here on Wednesday night, but on Thursday will be 29 days, and then it'll be 28 days, officially 4 weeks away from the start of the season. And I can't say it enough. I am so ready for the season to start again.
I think everybody's right there with you. I think everybody's very excited.
Well, that's good. That's good. All right. So coming up next year on the Power Play Post Show, we are going to talk. I sat down 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes with Andreas Johansson, the owner of the Binghamton Black Bears. We talk a little bit about the press conference, the meeting, and we talk a little bit about the Black Bears. They've increased their. Here's something that I want to talk to you about. The Binghamton Black Bears are now up to 1,200 season ticket holders. Taylor, without a doubt, in my opinion, it's going to be one of the highest in the Fed. But 1,200 is about a quarter, just under 25% of the amount of seats that are in the arena. To me, that is such a positive number that it went up from last year's number, which was in the low 1,100s, and now is up over 1,200. Just the fact that each year they continue to not only increase fan attendance, but just the business side has improved. That's one of the things that Andreas and I talk about. But the fact that the fans are now going out there, and I've seen it a few times out on the message boards, people are buying season tickets, and it's improving and going up, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. I mean, the first year we just bought the single game tickets, usually like the day of. And then we decided as a family, actually, because his mom decided that she was going to do it with us. So we ended up with 4 of us, and it's worth it. You don't ever have to worry about getting your seat or making sure you get the ticket in time or somebody else is going to get there before you. And you get all these, coupons and perks, and you get a little pin that's got, I think it's the Black Bear head that we had.
Oh, cool.
And you just get a little goodie bag and stuff.
Oh, I got to get the Black Bears to give me that pin. I got a pin collection. I've got AHL and baseball pins. So I've definitely loved, Black Bears, if you're listening, give me a pin. I mean, come on. It's a good thing. Plus you saved money, right? It's like you bought single tickets the first season, and then after that you save money because you get a discount on the tickets, and that's a good thing.
They also, I don't know how many tickets, because I don't remember from last year, but you get free tickets as well that you can hand out to anybody.
Yeah.
Because I remember last year we actually gave them to some Danbury guys so they could come and watch Danbury play in Binghamton.
God, that sounds dirty. Why would you do that? Listen, I know you have friends that are Danbury Hat-Tricks fans, and there's nothing wrong with that. I won't admit it, but I do too. Because there's, you got to be able to have the rivalry. Oh, okay. I want to tell you one more story from the press conference that you won't know about. You won't see. I have a picture of it, but Steven Santini, who plays for the Syracuse Crunch, was actually looking at the cup because they had the Commissioner's Cup there. And he was looking at the teams that were on there. And he's got family that lives right outside of Danbury. And so he knew a tiny bit about the Danbury hockey history, about the different names and stuff there. And he and Tyson were talking about players believe it or not, Santini knows who obviously Amesbury is and Diamond Hands, and he mentioned them and whatnot. And it was pretty neat to watch that interaction between he and Tyson, and they were both looking at the cup together, looking at some of the names on the cup. Again, I gotta say this, and I want people to hear this. The players don't care if you're an NHL player, an AHL player, an ECHL player, or single A hockey player, or Division I or Division III. They can all get on the ice and play hockey because they love the game. There is no ego between these guys. And if someone does have an ego in the AHL or the NHL and they don't want to play with some of these guys in the lower leagues, which I have not heard much of, but if that's the case, that's bad on them. The majority of these guys, they can get together and just start talking hockey. Tyson and Steven Santini, they were literally talking to each other about people that they knew in common. Because even though one plays in single A and the other one has played a game in the NHL and played in the AHL for a very long time, they both have common. It's a small world when it comes to hockey. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I was actually just going to say it's a small world, and you kind of beat me to it.
It really is. All right, so let's get to the interview with Andreas Johansson, and then Taylor and I will come back to kind of end the show and kind of tell you who's going to be on the show next week. I already know, and you have to listen to us after the Andreas interview to find out who. We'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers. Hi, this is Brandon Bolchinski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. We just sat through a press conference with the Syracuse Crunch and the Binghamton Black Bears. As you all know, there will be a AHL preseason game here. We're going to talk to this gentleman who's sitting right next to me. We're here. We're in the arena. We're sitting in the stands. There's no ice. This just does not feel right. But he is the owner of the Binghamton Black Bears. He is Andreas Johansson. Andreas, thank you very much for sitting down with me and talking to me a little bit. We've had some conversation throughout the day over the last couple hours, but a pretty exciting day. But I think you guys are even more excited for October 10th coming up as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, October 10th, our opening night, banner racing and getting the boys back on the ice. Yeah, we're obviously the thing with the Crunch is a nice add-on, but certainly our main focus is on our season starting.
Let's talk a little bit about I mentioned it actually as I asked the question during the press conference. There is a little bit of a history-making moment today. I think Brooks Hill mentioned it with his opening remarks. This is the first time that an NHL-affiliated organization has really kind of done a shared press conference with the Fed. Has the Fed started to really come that far where these type of things can start happening, as they are single A, and so many people for many, many years has dragged the Fed down, saying that it's, even below the SPHL. But today kind of proves that there are people who are looking at players, organizational staff, and cities and markets at a higher level, and they're taking notice.
Well, no, I think you're right. I mean, if you look at, this wasn't something that just happened out of the blue. I mean, we've been working with the Crunch for a minute. We've had good relationships with them for a while, and
talk about that a little bit, because the goalie sessions, as I was talking to some of the Syracuse Crunch staff that was here, they're like, not enough people know that you guys have helped us so much, that the Black Bears have helped us in certain areas, like sending the goalies up there for practice. I think it was every Monday or one Monday a month, something to that effect. There has been a relationship here with the Crunch.
Yeah, so we kind of started with that. I think once Jersey came in, I don't know exactly how it got started, but typically we wouldn't play Sundays, right? While I think they often do. So Mondays, their goalies typically had the day off. So we would send, at the time, I think it was Sam was here. Yeah. I think
Connor and Nolan.
Yeah, right. So they were all going up there Mondays, and we, I think by them being there practicing, I think that further kind of shows that the difference between the players, even though there's obviously a little bit of a difference, but I think that kind of helped bring it home that the difference maybe isn't that large. And then Jim Sorosi and his team from Syracuse, obviously they're 100 miles away from us, 90 miles, whatever it is, and they're looking at us and seeing the attendance that perhaps wasn't as big back in the AHL days, and I think that opened their eyes. And I'm sure that happens across other markets too, where the Fed of today is a very different league from the Fed of, when I got into it in the 21-22 season after COVID. I mean,
it's different. The league is different now. Going into better markets, better ownership groups being a part of the league, that helps.
Yeah, everything, right? You start on the ice, you look at the product on the ice, the players are a lot better, the coaching, is a lot better. The arenas, like you said, they're a lot bigger now. I mean, there's 14 teams in the league, and I would say capacity-wise, we're probably somewhere in the middle, right? We're certainly not one of the largest buildings.
We're in the middle, but we're still going to end up near the top of the league when it comes to attendance. The fan base is so strong here in Binghamton.
Well, yeah, we sell a lot of tickets, right? Like, it's all great to have a big building, but we're selling 86, 87% of the tickets, and center ice is sold out like almost every game. We got almost a quarter of the building is season tickets now. It's over 1,200, so that's obviously
awesome.
Tremendously helps. Yeah,
I heard you say that number earlier today, and I was really impressed that it's continued to grow. Like every single year, it's a growth. And if you remember, I talked to you guys, Brooks and you about this. There's never been a team here in Binghamton, even in the AHL days, where they had such a successful season and then the attendance grew the next year. You guys have broken that kind of weird anomaly when it comes to attendance here in Binghamton, where you guys won a championship and you went from 4,000 fans to 4,300 fans per game. That has to make you feel good as the owner that the staff, the team, Brant Sherwood, the players, everybody involved has been a part of that, changing kind of like that part of history in Binghamton hockey.
Yeah, and you're right. I think I was a little nervous going into last season just because we just won a championship, we set a new attendance record again. You kind of wonder how long can this keep growing, right? But then I think what you say is a big part of it. Like we're winning hockey games. We probably won 80% of the games at home last year. I don't know. We lost the opener, and I don't know if we lost again at home. I don't actually.
I think one other time.
Right. So we lost 2 out of 28. Yeah. So it gives us 90% plus, right? So it's pretty good at home.
It's a good number.
It's pretty good. And year before was similar, right? But I think the fans want to see us win, of course. But I actually think they show up for other reasons too. Like I think it's entertainment. It's an opportunity to get together with friends and family. That's it's not just about the game. And I think also that, and I know I keep saying it's like a broken record, but I think the bond between players, the organization, and the fans is really what makes them come out. Like even if we were, God forbid, not to be winning as much, I still think we'd draw. Like it'd be a little different. But I do think, like this year, we got our schedule is a little bit changed, right? We play at home.
I was going to ask you about the schedule. Early on at home, but after February 1st, there's not as many home dates. And I've always said that, after the holiday, after Thanksgiving, after Christmas is really when the attendance picks up here in Binghamton. Are you guys going to be doing anything differently to try to pack those fans in as early as possible? Because you don't have a lot of home dates after February 1st.
Yeah, I mean, the things that are within our control, we're trying some of the theme nights and big group nights, for example, that typically might be more going later in the season normally. Like we're trying to push those out maybe in November, December. I think we have 1 or 2 theme nights. And we do have a fairly healthy base of between season tickets, groups, partial season tickets. So like, I don't think we're going to struggle too much, but obviously, it is a little bit harder when you're going straight in, to I think November this year. I don't know how many home games we have, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit different, but it's still reasonably well spaced out. And the weeks where we do have 2 games, like typically at least one of them is either like a military game or it could be a game where we have a big group or something coming in. So it's a challenge, and it's forced the guys upstairs to work a little harder. Like typically, organically we've sold a lot of tickets because the team has been really, really, really good. And that's obviously we would expect the same this year as far as the performance on the ice. But you always got to try to look at how you can get better, how you can improve, what you can do to draw more people in. So I'm not too concerned. I mean, we're not loving the schedule, but it was kind of, because of availability and other activities during later on in our season, like where ice just isn't available. It's kind of between trying to pack the games in early or trying to pick up some weekends or Sundays or even weekdays during later year.
Which realistically, most of the games are Friday, Saturday. I think there's only 2 games on Wednesday this year. It's a lot of weekend dates. Whether you're on the road or at home, those weekend dates are important to the Fed.
Oh, sure. I mean, I think I think have you talked to the Crunch today, they would have said the same thing. Like weekdays are tough. Like even, I live in the DC area, and even the Caps, I mean, they'll struggle to draw a Tuesday night as opposed to a Saturday night, just because it's more so, I think, at this level, because the NHL fans are a little bit different, while here, we're a family day out, right? Like, are there people going on their own? Absolutely. But it's also a lot of our fans are coming out with kids or grandkids or whatever you have, and, they might want to have a drink or two, and can you drink on a Tuesday? Of course. Are you likely to do it?
Probably not.
Less so. I mean,
when you get our age, we probably don't as much as we used to. On a Tuesday.
It's just, it hurts the concession sales and it hurts the attendance, and it's also a little harder scheduling wise if you're on the road on a Tuesday. Like, you kind of have to run your entire week different from the hockey perspective. So for us, we're better off playing home Fridays and Saturdays than we are playing a random Sunday in April or March.
I know that with the news today of the crunch coming here with the Utica Comets to play on October 3rd, if I got that right. I should know it. I've looked at the date a couple times. It kind of makes training camp here for the Binghamton Black Bears maybe a little difficult. They're going to have to probably train over at the BCC Ice Center. What's the relationship like with the BC Ice Center with you guys to be able to do that for a few days?
No, so that's they've been good to us. I mean, obviously now the NA team that was over there, the NA3 team, I think they moved to Elmira, right? So they really don't have a main tenant, so it's easy enough for us to get time. Creates a little more work for the equipment guys and the players, and bringing stuff over there, coming back here. So it's not ideal. Initially, actually, this game, when we started talking about it, it was meant to be on the 1st or even the day before. So we were thinking, hey, great, if you guys play then the ice will come in and we can start our camp here, which, then that the game, obviously for the same reason, they want fans here, it got moved to the Friday night. So we'll start at BCC, I think, for 2-3 days probably, and then I would imagine we'll skate here in the morning on the 3rd, and then they'll play their game, and then they're just getting out of here right after the game. So I don't think they'll even skate here in the morning.
Right, and of course it's close. When the phone call started being made to have this game come in here, was there any hesitation from you guys to kind of continue that partnership with Syracuse, or was this more of we want it to be good for everybody, right? Was that the mindset going into this for you and for your staff? Because I got to imagine it's just oh, great, here we go. Now people are going to want to talk about the AHL and all that type of stuff when you have to sell tickets.
Well, yeah. Was there hesitation? No, not really. Whenever we can be helpful, we want to be. And, the crunch have been good to us. And, who knows what will come down the line there. The way we structured it, which was something that we requested, and they were fine with it, and the arena were fine with it, was that we'll sell some skyboxes if we have people that want to buy it, or even groups. We can do that if somebody wanted it. But as far as selling the tickets to the game, we asked if that can go through the arena box office and the crunch box office. So we won't be printing tickets or doing anything like that, just because I think the day before we have our season ticket pickup party, and we're going to be right in the middle of camp, so we don't necessarily have that much time to dedicate to
right, because there's not a great payoff. And I hate to say it that way, but there's probably not a great payoff for you guys. So it's more of, let's do this in a way that makes more sense, right? The box office of this arena, the box office up there in Syracuse, they handle the bulk of the ticket sales, and then you guys go from there. Like you said, maybe we'll sell a couple groups or whatever it might be to the game, but otherwise, because the payoff isn't really necessarily for the Black Bears, but there is a relationship that strengthens if it's done correctly.
Well, you're right. And I mean, even though, we do have a financial interest in the game, but no matter what we do, it's not going to be obviously as well attended as a Black Bears regular season game. It's still I hate to make it smaller than it is, but it's a preseason game for a team that's not based here, playing another team that's not based here, so for me to go to my staff and say, hey, let's prioritize this, it wouldn't have made sense. And the crunch understood it. It was never a question of, can you sell the tickets? They got it. We wanted a special deal for our season ticket holders, and they were willing to do that. And we'll put it out to them. We'll do some social media posts and whatnot, and we'll have our video crew, and I think our off-ice crew will work the game, just because it makes more sense to have them do it. And in our building, and obviously our advertising is here. But other than that, like they'll run everything leading up to the game, so that way it doesn't become more of a distraction than, you know, it'll be a little work for the guys in the locker room cleaning out, you know, the stalls and whatnot. But
sure.
The rest will be running like pretty smooth, and I think.
And some of the players will probably come and watch the game, and there's a benefit there too for them to be able to come and see how these guys are and whatnot. And maybe Brant Sherwood and the head coach of the Syracuse Crunch might make a connection or network a little bit. That's also still, again, a positive there for everybody involved. Let me ask you a question. I'm looking up in the rafters. There's some changes in the rafters when it comes to banners. Things have been moved around a little bit, some changes, and you guys are the cause of that. The Binghamton Black Bears are the reason why some of the banners have changed and moved around a little bit, and I mean that in a very positive way. What does it feel like to you? Because we're sitting right in front of that 2024 championship banner right now. What does it mean to you personally that you've come in here, you've won now 3 championships in your ownership career, so to speak, right? Watertown, and now obviously, but you're going to be adding with less than a month another banner up to that. What's it mean to you personally?
You know, that's an interesting question. I mean, it means a lot, you know, but I think it's one of these things where, you know, you don't realize it probably until a lot later. You know, I would say now if I go to Watertown and you see the banner that we put there, and you kind of see what team is doing now, and you see the attendance and stuff, where you can kind of look back and say, yeah, we did that and that was cool. Here,
does that hurt you to see how things are turning out in Watertown?
No, not really. I
don't mean hurt you like oh, you're offended. I mean, does it?
No, I know what you mean. I mean, would I want the franchise there to have done better? Do I feel like when I sold it, could it have been done? There just aren't that many buyers out there for a team that maybe could have, you know.
It's a small market.
It's a small market, and it really, like I said, even when I owned it, like this should be owned by a local person because it's a small enough market where you can't afford to have a lot of staff. And I mean, now I think Coachman is running it on his own, and he's working really hard, and he's doing really well. But it's a small market. But I think, to answer your question, like, it means a lot to put the banners up there. But I think because of the way that we live our lives, everything, like as soon as you win, you celebrate for a couple days, and you kind of have like a big drop in your dopamine levels afterwards, where you're almost like, all right, what do we do now? And then you start thinking about, we got to win again, you know, and it's kind of, you're so in it that I think I won't like fully maybe appreciate it until after, whenever that day comes, when I'm done here. Like, I think you see it more, like it means more to me when I'm here. Like I come up like maybe once a month, every, you know, whatever I can, you know, and you go to dinner, you go somewhere, and you see people out in Black Bears hoodies, t-shirts, hats, and you kind of start to see that awareness. Like I think that means a lot too, because then we're kind of where we always wanted to get to, was to be something that doesn't matter who you are or what your situation is. You come here, you're like with family, and you have something to do.
Yeah.
I think we're there. Like I think we can always do better, but I think we're there.
Yeah.
The banners are great.
Well, I've always said the banners are for the fans, the rings are for the players and staff. I've always said that the banners are for the fans. The fans that will come in here, they'll look at, they go, oh, I was there. I remember that day. I remember May 9th. I remember May 10th, right? They'll remember those days. June 14th or June 7th for the 2011 team. That's for the fans. The rings are for you guys, but it does mean something to you.
Oh, of course. I mean, I think when you look back at a season, and I had this conversation with Jersey a while ago, like when you look back at this year and even the previous year when we won the first one, like there's so many things that you remember during that year that have nothing to do with actually winning the cup. Like it could be random games or like certain things that happen or things that happen like off ice that are very meaningful, where when you look back at it, like I think that we're always going to be a championship hockey team. Like we might put 5 straight, 10 straight. I don't know. Like I think we can. I think we'll always be good.
They made enough room for.
Well, yeah, that's why we had to take those things down. You know,
there's a little bit more.
We can probably win 10-15, and then we got to figure out what to do with it with the rafters again. But I think we have a culture here of winning. But I also think that what we have is like, even if you took the championships away, like even if God forbid the team wasn't very good, I think we still have something very special here, because the organization is is more than just winning, even though that is a big part of it.
I don't hear you and Jersey say fans. I don't hear you guys say even the hockey community. I hear you guys say family a lot. That you guys consider the Binghamton hockey fans or the hockey community here in Binghamton more like family than anything else, which I think is huge.
And I think it's been like that. If you remember when we first announced the team, like it was right after COVID, so it was just me here at first, right? And then Bobby Trevor came in, and we kind of Lipolas came in, and then, you know, slowly we started getting some players, but that was kind of a drag. So initially I had to be out there and meet people. And then, you know, first year team wasn't that good. So you're trying to, like, in second year we had the, you know, situation with Nikita where I had to be out and be more public and try to, like, explain, hey, you know, here's the organization, how we see it and what we're trying to do. And you build that bond with people. And after a while, you know, when you're here, you see, I mean, granted, like, it's not like you know every person, but you feel like you recognize a lot of them. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to be, like, very approachable to people, and I think so. I mean, Jersey, same thing, and he's really won him over. I remember the first year was kind of it was a little tough for him, and I mean,
Jersey,
first coaching job, and you know, he makes some really tough decisions, and I mean, it was like during the,
but it paid off. I mean,
it did,
that's the beautiful thing. Like, you don't get in the position that you're in without making tough decisions. Sherwood does not have the success that he's now had if he doesn't make tough decisions, right?
Sure.
Like, a lot of the guys will say, oh, man, he's our boy. Like, you know, he's like a player's coach, right? Yet he's had to make the tough decisions that a hard-nosed type of coach would have to make. You understand that because in a business world, you have to make those same kind of decisions.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes you have to make a painful decision short term to benefit long term. But I mean, yeah, we see everybody here as family. Like, they come up in the office before the game or whenever they're talking, they know the names of everyone. You know, my kids, especially my son, I mean, he's kind of grown up here, you know, and for me, this year has been kind of weird. Like, we've been going through some medical stuff with my wife, and being able to come here with my kids has brought, like, a sense of normalcy, not just for me, but for them, because they recognize the fans, they know the players, they know Jersey, they know his dog. Like, it's kind of been where even for me, I've been able to come here to kind of get away from life. And I've had conversation with fans that have kind of told me things that they're dealing with. And when they come here, they can get away from that and they can be part of something bigger, like whether it's good or whether you live alone or you have a big family or whatever you are, like when you're here, you're part of this family. And when we're winning games, like the best feeling is you go down the corner, a couple of minutes left, and you can feel the energy in here. You can feel how the players are feeding off of that. I mean, you go outside the locker room and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like we have to put that sign out there with my name on it saying, please go home after 15 minutes.
Well, yeah, there's like even I noticed a thing up on the boards and they're counting down 15 minutes after the game ends. And I'm like going, it has to be because of all the fans that show up over here.
So what happened was...
which is beautiful. In its great. Crazy way. It's beautiful.
It's probably one of the main reasons. So like first season, it was kind of like do whatever you want. Second season, they wanted us to start doing after the post-game stuff by the speedy zone, and we said no, we can't do that because
players all the way down.
Yeah, the guys are going to come out there, and then it's like more of an effort. Well, now it's like it's here. If a player feels like they're not feeling it too much, they can come out for a little bit, go back in.
Yeah.
Or, Scherz needs to see someone, they can come back in.
But let's make something very clear: no player is required to come out.
No,
they do this on their own because they've grown these relationships with the fans, just like your staff has.
Oh yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if you're coming out of playing college or playing in other teams in the league where the attendance is smaller, you're not used to this, right?
No.
You're coming in here, but no, the guys, there's never a go out there and do something. Like, I don't think I've seen ever. I mean, some guys are more into it than others.
Sure.
Kirks does a good job. Same with Jesse and the other like leadership. Like if someone's not out there,
we see guys like Weber out there a lot.
Yeah, Weber he likes it. He likes
Oliveri, he comes out and he'll. I mean, love seeing the little kids. When I see Oliveri out there, and he's not talking with like the adults mostly, he's like talking to the youngsters. It's great. One last question before I let you go, because you're a busy man, and you got stuff to do, people to meet, babies to shake, and hands to hold.
Political job, right?
Yeah, something like that, right? I said it backwards on purpose.
No, you're good.
You talked a little bit about 1,200, almost 1,200, or right around 1,200 season tickets. Talk to me a little bit about the business. How is the business here in Binghamton for you guys hockey-wise? Because the business isn't just ticket sales. It's advertisers. It's community support, businesses wanting to support this team. How has that been this summer going into this 5th season?
It's been strong. Like, season tickets are up, which
is great.
Ironically, your ticket revenue at the end of the year is going to be lower the more season tickets you sell, just because they're cheaper than game day ticket, right? So, but obviously you still want them because it's cash flow over the summer. If you sell 1,200 of them times $300, obviously that's cash that gets you through.
I've done the simple math. I know. Yeah, I know. I understand that. Yep.
I mean, the hardest part of this business really is controlling your costs. The league does have a problem, and I hope I don't get in trouble talking about this here, but like there is a problem within the league with salaries escalating, and like we're not getting into that. Like, for us, the guys that are here, they've been here for a while. They're very loyal. They know what they're worth. They understand that there's only so much we can pay them to not violate the rules.
Right.
And we don't want to get caught up in that race where you start bidding and bidding and bidding, and before you know it, every team is paying way too much money for players.
Yeah.
Last year was very successful, although like the travel was rough. Like, we flew to Mississippi, we flew to Athens. I think we flew somewhere else. We took we had sleeper buses. They're $20-25 a trip. Wow. Every night you're on the road, it's about $2,000, $2,500 with players per diems. We have
hotel rooms.
Yeah, usually you have 14, 15 hotel rooms. Like, most guys share couple single rooms.
Yeah.
Driver, fuel, foods. I think it's $40 a day per diems or something. Plus we got to buy them dinner and whatever they did. Whatever the breakdown is, I don't know, but it's expensive. And like, when you take these long trips, you go in the middle of nowhere, play 3 games in 3 days. You're leaving on we try to leave the day before. So we play Friday, we leave Thursday. If we're going really far out, then we might even leave the Wednesday. Like, if we're going to Danville, was kind of a long trip. I think we may have gone down south. So like last year we had a lot of longer trips. Like, this year it's a lot more, Watertown and, Danbury and stuff. So those are easy in and out trips where you're not spending as much money. But just controlling your cost in general, like what guys want sticks, guys want skates, guys want equipment, and you got to give it to them. I mean, it's their job, right? It's like if you're building a house, you got to let the guy have a hammer, but maybe he doesn't need 5 hammers or 10, like, and you find a hammer for him. So it's about managing your expenses, because the income every year, knock on wood, we've been able to grow it.
Yeah.
But
if you look around, the costs go up too. I mean, cost of living is going up. Everything kind of increases.
We're very conscious with not raising ticket prices. I mean, I think we raised them a little bit this year. I mean, if you say 10% increase, it looks like a lot, but if you go from $280 to $310, like, it's still a pretty manageable amount.
Right.
But if you look around on the advertising, like, a lot of it is spoken for. I mean, we can always create more inventory as far as video, broadcast, social media and stuff, but like, for the real, there's value in that, but for the real big ticket sponsors, like, they typically are looking for exposure in the building, whether it's dashers or
on ice.
On ice is a good one, or something like big out in the concourse. Like, that's more where.
Who's the new big business we're gonna see somewhere in this arena because of the Black Bears? Is there a new contract, a new deal that you guys struck this summer
we might see? We have a couple new ones that are coming in. I'm trying to think if there's any really large ones. I don't actually know if we have any like huge companies, just because we got like most of the really big companies in Binghamton have been with us for quite a while, and a lot of them. I mean, like Visions is a great example. Yep. I mean, they're not only helping out with this game, but like they've consistently, as they've seen a return on their money, they put more and more money with the team. Security Mutual, Sock Out Cancer, the hospitals have been really good to us too. UHS, Guthrie. We've had BAE and Lockheed in the defense contract. I mean, we can really go all around the range here and see.
There's really good ones then. So awesome. Andreas, thank you very much for coming back on, talking. We've only got 30 days. I've been doing the countdown on the social media, putting out there, using my pictures that I take in the games and during the games, and getting the fans excited. And I think the fans are going to be excited, not only for a preseason game coming in, I was hoping that maybe you guys were also going to announce that Tyson was going to play in the game, but
that would have been nice.
It would have been nice, but I understand there's some legalities there that we couldn't work out, or that couldn't be worked out. Well, maybe it could still. There's still 20-some days before that's going to happen, but I think everyone's going to be excited. Going to get to raise another banner, and it'll be a great season.
Yeah, we can't wait. We're excited to get back to it again.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Andreas Johansson. Obviously, everything's going good for the Binghamton Black Bears, business-wise, attendance-wise, season ticket-wise. They're going to be ready. Obviously, there's going to be a training camp that will start at the BCC Ice Center. And then once the Black Bear, once really the ice is set and the Syracuse Crunch are going to come in, the Black Bears are actually going to more than likely practice on the ice in the morning before the Syracuse Crunch game against the Utica Comets, and then basically it's their ice after that, which is pretty cool. But you know what? Why not share the love a little bit with the BC Ice Center, and really kind of do that. Taylor, give me your final thoughts on this game, the fan reaction, and the press conference today.
Overall, I think this is a great thing. I think that despite any ill feelings towards the Devils in any way, shape, or form, that it would still be worth it to come out and support this game, because it's got nothing to do with the Devils. This has everything to do with the Crunch and the Binghamton Black Bears and the relationship that they are building, and I think that deserves to be supported.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree with you. I think listen, and I understand. I empathize with you as a New York Rangers fan. I don't like the Devils either, and I don't like what they did to us here in Binghamton. I don't like what they did to the people in Lowell and Trenton and Albany and Utica the first time. But it is what it is. We move on, support the players, support the young men who get out there on the ice and do the job that they're doing. And remember one thing, fans, when you go and you look at the attendance in Utica, we outshine them every single game. 4,300 for us. They can't even fit 4,300 in their arena. So support, Binghamton hockey. That's really what matters. There's a preseason game. Back in the day, Taylor, back in like the Ranger days and the Whalers days, there were big games like this that would come to Binghamton all the time. There were NHL preseason games played here in Binghamton on this ice. There was also a game against a Russian team that happened in the early 80s when the Whalers were here. So Binghamton is not foreign to these types of games, and I think it's a pretty cool thing. I listen, and I appreciate everybody's comments and responses about this, about the announcement. I think it's still a great thing for Binghamton and for Syracuse, and I think that's what really matters. Okay, so Taylor, ask me who's going to be on the show next week.
Well, who's going to be on the show next week?
Well, you could have put a little bit more energy into that, but I'm going to tell you that I am going to be at the arena next week, sitting down with our good friend Brooks Hill. So we're going to sit down like we did last year. Last year we did it sometime in July, and we're in September now. And I'm going to sit down at the arena. I'm going to bring over all the gear, set it all up, and he's going to be on the mic with me. And we are going to be talking about the Binghamton Black Bears, how things went over the summer, what he's most excited about coming up into the new season. And should be a really fun time and a good interview with our friend Brooks Hill, who did a phenomenal job today. He basically hosted the press conference, did a great job, and we were going to actually talk this week. And that's what we had kind of agreed upon, that we were going to do this week. He was on vacation in North Carolina last week, and we were kind of agreed it was going to be this week. And then when he called me up on Monday to tell me about the press conference, and he called me up and let me know this is what was happening. About 5 or 6 hours later is when he told me it was the Utica comments, and I almost threw up in my mouth. But he said, yeah, so why don't we push the interview off until the next week? So next week will be Brooks Hill.
All righty. Everybody loves Brooks Hill, man, especially the chair. Gotta bring up the chair.
Especially the chair. All right. The Power Play Post Show is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search Power Play Post Show and become a part of our community on Facebook. And then, of course, check out BinghamtonHockey.net, your go-to source for stats, history, and all things Binghamton hockey. Thank you to Rob Lepolis, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, and from the Binghamton Black Bears, owner Andreas Johansson. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we'll talk to you next week right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.